Hello YouTube, this is Goda Radio Moscow again with another beer review. Now I have the Brewdog Nanny State today. Now as I talk about in my other Brewdog reviews for the Punk IPA and the Hello My Name is Mette Marit, I talk more about the history of the Brewdog company in the Punk IPA video, so I'll put the link for that. If you want to hear a more in-depth history of Brewdog, then have a watch of that video. But anyway, just a little brief one. Brewdog are a Scottish craft brewery founded in 2007 by James Watt and Martin Dickey. They were originally based in Fraserburgh at the Keswick Industrial Estate, but they recently in 2012 moved to a new larger brewing facility in Ellon, which is closer to the city of Aberdeen, and the original site remains as a beer lab and it produces some of their special brews as well. But anyway, they claim to be the largest independently owned brewery in Scotland, and they produce 120,000 bottles per month for export all across the world. That includes Europe, the Far East, Australia and North America. Now, Brewdog produce, in addition to their 5 core range beers, they produce a number of occasional brews which includes ale, stout, pils, any style you can think of. And this is one of these. Now, the Nanny State is a response to the response from the brewery to criticism of the strength of some of their beers. Now, as I speak about in the other video, they have this sort of pissing contest, if you like, with a company called Schwarzbrau in Germany to try and create the world's strongest beer, and the record still sits with Schwarzbrau at the moment with 57.5%. And Brewdog's latest effort was called The End of History, which was at 55%. But anyway, this beer was actually a response from the brewery when the media had a go at them for producing the 18.2% Tokyo Star, which is a lovely beer actually, a nice kind of very, very dark one. I've had it before and it's, trust me on that, it's absolutely beautiful. But this was the response. The brewers in the papers were branded as irresponsible, and there was a lot of mudslinging went on basically, but this was the response of the brewery for this. So the real problem the media had with this Tokyo beer was the fact that 18.2% is holds the same amount of alcohol in one 330 bottle that is in the same of 3 pints of regular beer that you would get on draft. And for those of you watching outside of the UK, 3 pints is about 1.5 litres. But anyway, like this, basically, I just think it's a typical sort of Scottish reaction, if you like. They're called irresponsible for making a beer of 18.2%, so the response is to produce a 0.5% beer and call it Nanny State. But the media in Scotland are well known for blowing things out of proportion and talking shite, for a want of better words. But anyway, it's very difficult for them to actually brew this beer with the 0.5% ABV. And they say that it required a lot of tweaking. The process required a lot of tweaking and some clever science and things like that. But there was an earlier version of this beer that had a 1.1% ABV. But this is as I said earlier, this is the 0.5 version. Now, according to the description on the website, this is brewed with Centennial, Amarillo, Columbus, Cascade and Simcoe hops, and intensively dry hopped with Centennial and Amarillo. The backbone is provided by a patchwork of 8 different types of specialty malts, which combine to give the beer as much body as possible, despite its modest alcohol content. So, as is tradition with my other Brewdog beer reviews, I'll read you the blurb on this one. As you can see on the bottle here, there's always this blurb on the back, just to the sort of left-hand side of the label. But anyway, so low ABV beer amplified. Beer was never meant to be monotonous or mass-produced, which is why we at Brewdog are on a crusade to create the holy grail of craft beers. On our quest, we've amped up ales and punked IPAs, but where does it say low ABV beer can't pack a heavyweight punch in the palate? Nanny State is about giving the V's to ABV and any assumption that low alcohol content lacks attitude, grit, and is best reserved for, well, Nanny. In true Brewdog fashion, we've torn up convention, pushed brewing to its limits, and ultimately created a beer that touts a small but feisty amount of 8 speciality malts. If that wasn't enough, we've dry hopped this little beauty to the brink and back with help of Amarillo and Centennial hops that create an all-out riot of citrus, orange and lychee flavours. Plug in, kick back and enjoy as we welcome to the stage the world's first low ABV beer, officially cranked up to 11. Okay, so this one on the bottle, just to let you have a better look at the bottle, I'll just bring the camera back up again. As you can see, standard Brewdog artwork on this one. It's described as an insanely hoppy Imperial Mild on the bottle. The bottle cap is the standard Brewdog dog. But let's get this guy open and have a little look. this one's going to fizz, I can hear it. Okay. You can smell, even just smelling this before you bring it out the bottle, this is going to have one hell of a nose on it. As you can see, it's a very nice kind of mid-brown colour. Very clear actually, very clear. Just hold this up to the light. It's actually got a bit of a kind of red tint to it. There's a nice head on it. This is a bubbly head rather than a kind of fluffy head, if you like, on this one. Quite a lot of, you know, bubbles in there. Carbonation, quite difficult to see in this one just because of the dark, but there are some kind of visible bubbles going up and down there. Okay, so let's just give this one a little smell. It's very citrusy on the nose. You can get, there's a lot of pininess to this one actually. Citrus and piney are the are the most prominent aromas on this. It's actually got a really maybe overpowering smell actually, but really grassy, really citrusy. You can get the hops in there as well. You can smell that. Not really smelling the malts, I have to say, on this one. Oh, this is a very earthy beer. This. Yeah, it's really earthy. The hops are the most prominent flavour in this. Absolutely no doubt on that. The citrus in this one, despite being more prominent in the aroma, kind of sits in the background. It's got a kind of piney lingering to it. The pininess comes in the aftertaste, I'd say. And it has, yeah, it has quite a bitter finish to it, definitely. Definitely the hops in this one. To be honest, this one doesn't have such a good balance of flavour on it, which when they're saying it's made with 8 speciality malts, you would expect it to be a bit more balanced, but it's really hoppy and really earthy. The citrus takes a back seat, as does the pininess in it. I'm not really able to get the sort of likey flavours in it either. The carbonation on it's just right though. It's actually, for it being so hoppy, it's kind of surprisingly light bodied, I'd say. It's quite easy drinking, but the flavour is just a bit too hoppy for me, I'd say. It definitely, I mean, overall, it's interesting to drink a beer that has as low an ABV as this. You know, you're never really gonna find a beer that's 0.5% ABV. It proves, the Brewdog complete their aim. They prove the point that you can get a hell of a lot of flavour into a 0.5% beer. I do wonder if perhaps the reason this is so overpoweringly hoppy and earthy is just the fact that the ABV is just so low. But they've proved that they can do it, and they can put a good bit of flavour into it. But I mean, overall for me, the flavour's not so well balanced. It almost has, to me it almost tastes coffee like, this beer. The hops are so strong on it. But overall, it's not my favourite Brewdog one, this. It's definitely worth a try due to the fact that it's unique in that sense that it has the really low ABV content. But overall, when it comes to this, to Brewdog Brewery, this is definitely not their best beer that they produce. Like I say, very unique in the sense that it's quite hoppy and such a low ABV. Definitely worth the try if you see it. I had this one on draft originally, and I was a bit unsure of the draft, but on the bottle and tasting it again, I can see that my sort of initial feelings with it were right. But anyway, unique for its low ABV, overpoweringly earthy and hoppy a little bit. A bit of disappointing beer from Brewdog. Well, maybe not disappointing. It's unusual. It's maybe beer subjective. You know, some people might enjoy it. I didn't enjoy this one so much. Definitely not my favourite Brewdog one. But anyway, thanks again for watching my beer reviews. I'll be back soon with another one. I've got a stockpile of Brewdog ones there if this is the sort of beer you're interested in. But I have another, 17 or 18 bottles of the stuff that I need to review through it at some stage. So keep an eye out for the next Brewdog reviews. Please comment and let me know your own thoughts on the beer, like the videos, share them, all the usual YouTube jazz. But thanks again for watching my beer reviews, and I'll be back soon with another one for you. Cheers.